Hello everyone, as always I am Cosmic and welcome to another episode of Mailhub, the show that is all about gaming opinions, Q&A and sometimes my own personal therapy session. The game in the background is Total War Arena closed beta. I've put around 70 hours into this game now and it is still as addicting as it was the first hour, which is a little bit of a problem for me. The first question comes in from Jacob that says, "Hi Cosmic, pardon me if this has been addressed before, but I was wondering what you think of the current gaming landscape. Is it the golden age of gaming, the worst it's ever been, or somewhere in between? Which current gaming trends would you like to see more of, and which would you prefer to quickly die out?" Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure I subscribe to the golden age of gaming kind of thing. I think they're just phases of industries that they go through. I still think that the gaming industry is somewhat in its adolescence. When you consider compare the gaming industry in terms of its life length compared to other things like film and music, then we're still just a baby. That being said, we are the Hulk of babies. Gaming transcends financially what film and music make nowadays. A game can outsell a film by hundreds of millions of dollars. So, we are in an adolescence where we pack a hell of a punch. Now, I don't think it's necessarily the golden age of gaming, nor is it the worst it's ever been. I think it's just the way it is. I think games are highly more available than they used to be. When I was growing up, not every household had a console. In fact, you were lucky to have one house on the street that had a video games console, which then all the kids on that street would go around to that person's house to play all the time because they were the popular kid because they had a video games console. Nowadays, of course, you have the saturation of the console market. It's easier than ever to get a relatively decent PC rig to play. With the older generations of consoles available, they are readily available and they're cheap, which means that people can get into gaming for very little money and they can experience some really great games, whereas back then you couldn't. You either had the latest gaming console or a very expensive PC, or you had nothing. That was the way it was. Nowadays, because we went through it through generations, you can get a PS3 and Xbox 360 for really, really cheap, and there are some fantastic games to be able to play on there. Sure, you're not going to have the latest Call of Duty on PS4, but at the same time, you're going to have some fantastic games and a fantastic library to go through. So it's a lot better than it used to be in that respect. I also think it's better in terms of the development side of video games, with the rise of indie developers, mainly due to the more accessibility of financial resources, things like crowdfunding, things like Steam Greenlight, and ultimately game development, especially indie game development, has become a lot cheaper than it used to be. With things like Unity and Unreal 4 really accessible now. You couldn't get that kind of thing back in the day. Now you can. And so a guy who wants to be a game developer can go buy Unity and start developing a video game in their bedroom. It's not that much of a problem anymore than it used to be. Sure, you've still got to pay the bills, but in terms of how much video game development costs for indies, it's a lot lower than it used to be. So I think that has a big impact, and ultimately the way Steam has affected the PC gaming market specifically has also had a big impact with Steam sales, meaning that more people can buy more games, is a huge thing, and it's something that has had a big impact on the PC consumer market. So all these things are positives, really. Ultimately, I think that I don't necessarily think that there's going to ever be a golden age of gaming, so to speak. I don't think that the past couple of years have been particularly good in terms of gamers community or what is perceived as gaming communities. But I think that ultimately it's one of those things that will get resolved, and the issues that are being talked about on a semi-regular basis at the moment will get resolved in some fashion as the industry develops and grows more, as not only as the technology advances but also as the culture and philosophies change. In terms of gaming trends, I'm really glad that the zombie phase has started to die out now. I am so sick of zombies. It's unbelievable. I like the trend of certain Kickstarters that they're trying to bring back older CRPGs, things like, Pillars of Eternity and Wasteland 2 and that kind of thing. I really like to see the return of those style of games, not because I want to lose anything else, but ultimately I want to gain a older style of game that is a hell of a lot of fun. So I would certainly like to see like the YouTube game, like Goat Simulator kind of thing, die out very quickly, because those things are just really, really irritating and boring. But other than that, I would just like to see more diversity overall and more interesting and innovative games. And I think that is a gaming trend that I would like to see, is where developers really push for innovation and really push for new IPs rather than making the 900th Assassin's Creed. The second question comes in from Stephanie that says, "Hi Cosmic, what's the deal with the channel name and where did it come from?" I don't know. I honestly do not know. I don't even remember at this point. It is not a nice name. I don't like it. It's not particularly marketable and it drives me crazy. I could point out that Cosmic Engine was a astronomical clock invented by the Chinese to pinpoint distance and location and all that kind of thing in space. So I could, kind of spin that and say, well, I'm pinpointing good locations and making accurate information in a galaxy of video games, but no, I'm not going to do that. It's I don't really know where it came from. I think I just chose it after seeing something a long time ago. I think it was maybe from like a Star Wars novel or something like that. I forget. But if I could change it, I probably would, because it's not the greatest thing ever. So that's that question. So thank you so much for watching today. Do like, subscribe and leave a comment. Make sure to send your emails into mailhub@cosmicengine.net for next week's show, and I will see you next time.